They were designed to teach history. From minting mistakes to flawless strikes, these are the state quarters that collectors dream of, because they're not just coins, they're hidden jackpots. Welcome to our channel, where every coin tells a story and some stories are worth far more than you'd ever expect. Let's uncover the hidden value behind these legendary pieces, one remarkable quarter at a time. In 1999, the US Mint launched a program that would forever change how we viewed the coins in our pockets. It was called the 50 State Quarters Program, and it was designed to honor each state in the Union with its own distinctive quarter. These coins were more than just currency, they were pieces of history, art, and identity, captured in metal. With each new design, the Mint created a little window into the heart of each state, a tangible symbol of its culture, heritage, and pride. By 2001, the program was well underway, and America was eagerly collecting these commemorative coins. That year, 5 new state quarters were introduced, and one of the most beautiful, yet understated designs, emerged from Rhode Island, the smallest state in the nation, yet one with a rich history and a deep connection to the SEA. At first glance, the 2001 Rhode Island state quarter might seem like just another coin in the series. However, the story behind its design and the history it would eventually hold is anything but ordinary. The coin's design was inspired by the essence of Rhode Island, a state that owes much of its character to its maritime heritage. Rhode Island, often called the Ocean State, has more than 400 miles of coastline, making it a haven for sailors, fishermen, and those who find their connection to the world through the water. The design that was chosen to represent the state captures this seafaring spirit in the form of a sailboat, its sails billowing in the wind, gliding across the waters of Narragansett Bay. In the background, the graceful Claiborne Pell Bridge, one of the most iconic landmarks of Rhode Island, spans the bay, connecting the mainland to the island of Aquidneck. This simple, elegant design was meant to represent the harmony between nature, the people, and the sea, an image that truly captures the soul of Rhode Island. The Rhode Island State Quarter quickly became part of the nationwide collection that was taking place. Hundreds of millions of quarters were produced in that year alone, and these coins made their way into the hands of Americans, from students in classrooms to tourists visiting the state's picturesque shores. However, among all these millions of coins, there was one quarter that would go on to make history, not because of its design, but because of its exceptional rarity and flawless condition. While most of the Rhode Island quarters were struck for circulation, the U.S. Mint also produced a limited number of special proof coins. These proof coins were not meant for circulation. They were struck using polished dies and high-quality materials, often including silver. They were designed for collectors, not for spending. One particular coin stood out among all the others, the 2001 silver-proof Rhode Island State Quarter. Unlike its circulation counterparts, this coin had been handled with extreme care from the moment it was minted. It had been struck multiple times, creating a mirror-like surface that reflected light with exceptional clarity. The design was crisp and clean, each detail sharp and perfectly executed. The coin seemed to glow with a kind of quiet perfection that drew the attention of collectors and numismatists alike. The coin was sent for grading, where it was assessed for its quality. It came back with an extraordinary grade, PR 70 DCAM, the highest possible grade for a proof coin. This coin was flawless, with not a single blemish or imperfection. It was perfect in every way. And because of its rarity, condition, and historical significance, it became a prized object among collectors. The story of this flawless Rhode Island State Quarter doesn't end with its grading. As with many rare and highly sought-after collectibles, the coin was eventually put up for auction. The auction room was filled with seasoned collectors, investors, and numismatic enthusiasts, all aware that they were about to witness something extraordinary. The bidding began slowly, but as the auction progressed, the intensity of the competition grew. As the price climbed higher and higher, the room became charged with anticipation. Each bidder knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own a coin of such rarity and beauty. Finally, after a tense few minutes, the hammer came down, and the coin was sold for a staggering $57,000. Yes, you heard that right, $57,000 for a single Rhode Island State Quarter, a coin that, at face value, was worth just 25 cents. This extraordinary price wasn't driven solely by the material value of the silver or the rarity of the coin itself, though those factors certainly played a role. It was the combination of perfect condition, the historical significance of the design, and the fact that this coin had survived untouched, in pristine condition, for decades, that made it such a prized object that in the world of coin collecting, condition matters more than you might think. A single small scratch or blemish can dramatically reduce the value of a coin. But a coin that is as close to perfect as possible, like this Rhode Island quarter, becomes an object of intense desire. It's the kind of coin that people will pay anything to own because it represents more than just a quarter. It represents a moment in time, a symbol of craftsmanship, and an investment in history. And here's the thing, this wasn't just a story about a single coin. It's a reminder that in the world of numismatics, there are treasures to be found everywhere. So, the next time you find yourself holding a quarter in your hand, take a moment. Look at it closely. You never know, what may seem like an ordinary coin could turn out to be something extraordinary, something rare, something priceless. Next rare state quarter, the 2004 Michigan State Quarter. While the 50 State Quarters program captivated the nation from 1999 to 2008, it's the coins that stand the test of time, those few rare gems, that continue to fascinate collectors, investors, and numismatists alike. As each state was honored with a quarter, people began to realize that some designs held more than just symbolic value, they represented opportunities for rare finds and considerable profit. Among these rare treasures is the 2004 Michigan State Quarter. Michigan's design was unveiled in 2004 as part of the ongoing 50 State Quarters program, which, by that time, had already amassed an army of collectors. Michigan's design pays homage to the state's rich history, its natural beauty, and its industrious past. Michigan is known for its iconic Great Lakes, its bustling car manufacturing industry, and its natural wonders like the famous Mackinac Bridge. These features are captured in the design of the coin, creating a beautiful blend of the state's geography and industry. On the face of the coin, you'll notice Michigan's distinctive upper and lower peninsulas, split by the waters of the Great Lakes, providing a geographical map in miniature. The Mackinac Bridge, which connects the two peninsulas, towers in the background, a striking image of human achievement and engineering prowess. For Michigan residents, this bridge isn't just a structure, it's a symbol of connection, both physically and metaphorically, to the rest of the state. The image is dynamic, capturing the spirit of the people of Michigan, a state that has long been a cornerstone of American industry, especially the automotive industry. The ship in the foreground, sailing across the water, symbolizes Michigan's maritime heritage, reflecting the state's deep connection to the Great Lakes, which have been vital for transportation, fishing, and trade for centuries. This maritime imagery ties the state's historical roots to its modern-day innovations and industries, but the significance of the 2004 Michigan State Quarter goes far beyond the story it tells about Michigan's culture and natural environment. Like all of the coins in the 50 State Quarters program, the Michigan Quarter was produced in massive quantities for general circulation, but among those mass-produced coins were some that would go on to become highly sought after for their rarity and pristine quality. Coins made for circulation are one thing, but the proof versions of the state quarters were an entirely different story. The U.S. Mint produced a proof coin for each of the state designs, and the Michigan Quarter was no exception. Proof coins are made using a special process that involves multiple strikes and a polishing process, creating a much higher quality finish than the regular coins you see in your pocket. These proof coins were typically produced in much smaller numbers and were intended for collectors, not for general circulation. Among these proof coins, one particular variant would rise to fame, the 2004 Michigan Proof Quarter. When coins are graded, they are evaluated for their condition. The highest grade a coin can achieve is PR 70 DCAM, Proof 70 Deep Cameo, which means the coin is in perfect condition, with no flaws or imperfections to be found. It's as close to flawless as you can get, and only the rarest of the rare coins receive this grade. In the world of coin collecting, condition is crucial, and a coin that is graded PR 70 DCAM is considered pristine, its finish so perfect that it gleams under the light, and its details are as sharp and crisp as the day it was minted. It's a coin that has been preserved through time, untouched by wear, scratches, or environmental damage. One of these perfect 2004 Michigan State Quarters made its way into the market, and it didn't take long for collectors to recognize its value. As soon as the coin hit auction houses, it was evident that this was more than just a state quarter. This coin, graded at PR 70 DCAM, was a rarity, one of the finest specimens of a quarter ever minted. As word spread, collectors from all over the world lined up to bid on it. The demand was high, and the price started climbing fast. The auction was an exciting event, with collectors and investors competing fiercely for the opportunity to own such a perfect coin. As the bid soared, the room grew tense with anticipation. And finally, after what felt like an eternity of bidding, the hammer fell, and the coin was sold. The final price? A staggering $53,000. That's right, a 2004 Michigan State quarter, a coin worth just 25 cents when it was first minted, had sold for an astounding $53,000. It was a sum that shocked even the most experienced coin collectors. But what was it that made this quarter worth so much? Why did a coin that most people would think of as just a piece of pocket change turn into such a highly coveted treasure? First and foremost, it's the condition of the coin. A coin graded PR 70 DCAM is a true rarity, and only a small fraction of coins ever achieve this grade. The high level of craftsmanship involved in creating these coins makes them prized possessions for collectors who value perfection. Furthermore, the 2004 Michigan quarter was an especially special release in the 50-state quarters program because of the state's immense cultural and historical significance. Moreover, the demand for perfect coins from the 50-state quarters program has been growing ever since the program's inception. Over the years, collectors have sought to complete their collections with flawless versions of each state's coin. The Michigan quarter, in particular, held a place of prominence due to the state's role in American history, especially its contributions to the automobile industry and its rich maritime heritage. So when an immaculate version of the coin came to market, collectors were eager to secure it. The 2004 Michigan State quarter isn't just a piece of metal, it's a symbol of connection, of a state that bridges the gap between the past and the future, of a nation's industrial might, and of a legacy that continues to be appreciated by those who collect and value history. So, keep your eyes peeled, keep your collections in good shape, and always remember that sometimes, the smallest objects can carry the greatest value. Next up, we have a truly remarkable coin in the world of numismatics, the 2005 West Virginia State Quarter. Part of the 50-state quarters program, this coin became a notable part of American coinage history when it was released in 2005. As each state in the Union was honored with its own quarter design, the West Virginia quarter brought to light the state's rich history, culture, and natural beauty. But what sets this particular coin apart from many others? Well, it's a fascinating story of a state's heritage, a striking design, and a rare coin that ended up fetching an astounding price on the collector's market. West Virginia, a state in the Appalachian region, has a legacy rooted in rugged landscapes, coal mining, and a deep sense of independence. The state's coin was released with a design that reflected these elements and showcased the New River Gorge Bridge, a symbol of both engineering achievement and the state's natural beauty. Spanning the deep gorge of the New River, the bridge has long been a landmark and a source of pride for the people of West Virginia. It symbolizes not just the state's stunning natural landscapes, but also the perseverance and industrious spirit of its people. The design of the coin features the New River Gorge Bridge towering over the rushing waters below. The bridge, an architectural marvel, connects the state's rugged landscape, making it a perfect representation of the state's resilience and the people's ability to overcome challenges. Beneath the bridge, the Latin motto Montani Semper Liberi, which translates to "Mountaineers are always free," appears. This phrase has been the official motto of West Virginia since its statehood, and it serves as a reminder of the independence and spirit that defines the state's people. Released as part of the 50-state quarters program, the West Virginia quarter was issued in 2005 alongside several other state quarters, each honoring the history and culture of a specific state. While the coin was initially produced for general circulation, many collectors paid attention to the variations and special versions of the coin that were also released. The most notable of these were proof coins, which were struck with extra care and intended for collectors, as well as uncirculated coins that were produced without ever being used in general circulation. These collectors' coins were a step above the regular quarters that you would find in your pocket. The proof versions, for example, were carefully polished, ensuring that they would have a smooth, mirror-like finish that stood out against the rougher, everyday quarters. These coins were often sold in limited quantities and made available for purchase through the U.S. Mint, making them much rarer than the everyday coins in circulation. while the regular circulation quarters are still valuable to some collectors, the true rarity comes from the proof coins and, even more so, the coins that were minted with special errors or in exceptional condition. As with any collectible, the value of a coin often hinges on its rarity, its condition, and its demand among collectors. Now, let's talk about what really made the 2005 West Virginia State Quarter stand out in the world of coin collecting: the errors. Error coins are those that have a mistake during the minting process, whether it's a misaligned die, a doubled strike, or some other unusual variation. These mistakes are rare by their very nature, and collectors often seek them out, sometimes paying top dollar for the chance to own a piece of numismatic history with a unique imperfection. For the 2005 West Virginia State Quarter, the errors that were most sought after were the ones where the design was misaligned, making the imagery appear off-center. These coins are considered a mistake in the production process, and that rarity can significantly increase their value. The more severe the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. Some collectors search tirelessly for error coins because they know how special they are in the numismatic world, but the real star of the show, when it comes to value, lies in the perfectly minted versions of the West Virginia Quarter. As with many coins, condition is everything. Coins that are in pristine condition, free of scratches or wear, and that have been properly preserved over the years can fetch impressive prices. One of the most prized versions of the 2005 West Virginia State Quarter is the PR70 DCAM, a coin that is graded at the highest possible quality, Proof 70 Deep Cameo. A coin like this is considered flawless, with no visible imperfections, and the sharpness of its design is as crisp as the day it was minted. Coin collectors, particularly those who specialize in high-grade coins, will eagerly seek out these PR70 DCAM coins. And when one of these flawless 2005 West Virginia quarters made its way to auction, the results were astounding. The coin fetched an incredible price, a remarkable $50,000. Now, how does a coin that was originally worth just 25 cents end up being valued at such an astronomical sum? The answer lies in the combination of factors: rarity, demand, and condition. With only a small number of these flawless coins available, collectors recognize their rarity and are willing to pay top dollar for the opportunity to own such a perfect piece of American history. A PR70 DCAM coin represents the pinnacle of quality, and for many collectors, owning one of these pieces is a goal worth striving for. When these coins are auctioned, the competition is fierce, and the price can skyrocket as collectors fight for the chance to add such a perfect specimen to their collections. Up next, we head west, not just geographically, but into a place of legend, resilience, and timeless natural beauty. We're talking about Arizona, and more specifically, the 2008 Arizona State Quarter. At first glance, it might seem like another piece of loose change, one of millions in circulation. But take a closer look. What lies within this coin is more than metal. It's memory. It's mystery. And for the few who've recognized its hidden potential, its value beyond belief, this quarter arrived late in the 50 State Quarters program, which began in 1999 and unfolded over a decade. Arizona's coin was part of the final set released, a closing chapter in what had become one of the most beloved coin programs in American history. Each state told its own story through images pressed into copper and nickel. And Arizona? It told a story few could forget. On the reverse of the coin, we see two symbols that say more than any words ever could. First, the Grand Canyon. Vast. Ancient. Almost impossible to capture in a single frame, yet somehow, this coin does it. Layers of stone stretch toward a sun that never seems to set. Below the cliffs, the mighty Colorado River cuts through earth as if it's writing its own eternal message in the canyon walls. A message of strength, patience, and time. Next to the canyon stands the silent giant of the desert, the saguaro cactus. Its silhouette is unmistakable. It rises, arms outstretched, as if greeting the desert sky. But this isn't just flora, it's a symbol. The saguaro represents endurance. It takes decades to grow a single arm. It waits years between rains. Yet it survives. Not just survives, but thrives. It's Arizona's way of saying, we don't just exist here, we flourish. All of this is framed by the words, Grand Canyon State, etched into the coin as both a title and a tribute. This isn't a nickname chosen lightly. It speaks to the pride Arizona holds for its natural heritage. Few states can lay claim to a wonder of the world. Arizona wears that honor with silent, steady confidence, but while the design is breathtaking, what really makes this coin shine, literally and figuratively, is what happened after it was released. Like all quarters in the program, the Arizona State Quarter was produced by the millions. It was passed from cashier to customer, from toll booth to glove compartment. But hidden among those ordinary coins were a few, very few, that would change hands for much, much more. The story begins with collectors. Passionate people with magnifying glasses, velvet-lined trays, and a hunger for detail. They don't just see coins. They see stories. And in the Arizona Quarter, they saw something special. Proof versions of the coin were minted separately, with special care, primarily for collectors. These coins weren't meant to be spent. They were created to be admired, polished to a mirror-like shine, struck twice to bring out every tiny detail, and sealed in cases to preserve their flawless finish, but perfection is rare. Even among proof coins, achieving a perfect grade, something like a PR70, which means absolutely no visible flaws even under magnification, is incredibly uncommon. A handful of Arizona quarters reached that pinnacle. Some remained in government-issued proof sets. Others slipped into private hands. And one, just one, rose above the rest. This particular coin was flawless. Its surfaces shimmered like glass. Its design was razor-sharp. No nicks. No cloudiness. No smudges. Just purity. And when it surfaced at auction, it sent ripples through the coin-collecting world. But there's more to this story than mint condition. There were also rare error coins, accidents of the minting process that turned ordinary coins into treasures. Some Arizona quarters were struck with misaligned dies, creating a slight shift in the image. Others showed doubling in the cactus spines or the canyon walls, making the design appear ghost-like or doubled. These weren't defects to be discarded. They were one-of-a-kind anomalies, beloved by collectors who know just how rare such quirks can be. As interest grew, so did the value. Auction houses watched in awe as bids climbed higher, fueled by competition, desire, and the thrill of owning something truly unique. This wasn't just a coin anymore. It was history. It was art. It was investment, and finally, it sold. The coin, the perfect, gleaming, untouched Arizona quarter, fetched a staggering $41,000. Yes, a coin worth 25 cents on paper had sold for more than the price of a brand new car. Why? Because rarity, beauty, and story matter. Because for collectors, finding a coin like this is like striking gold in a place most people only see gravel. Because within this tiny circle of metal is a bigger story, about America, about a state carved by time and sun, and about the human impulse to preserve what is rare. What makes this even more fascinating is that the coin may still be out there. Not the one that sold for thousands, but others, coins in forgotten drawers, sealed in boxes, tucked into childhood collections. Quarters with errors that haven't been noticed yet. Proofs that have never seen light. And every one of them carries the potential to be discovered by someone just paying a little more attention. Up next, let's explore a coin that doesn't just reflect a place, it captures a moment, a feeling, a quiet memory hidden in the shifting sands of time. This is the story of the 2014 Great Sand Dunes National Park Quarter, a coin that holds more than just its weight in metal. It holds the essence of a landscape shaped by wind, water, and wonder. Picture yourself in southern Colorado, far from the bustling cities and echoing highways. The sun is just beginning to dip below the horizon, casting a golden glow across a field of massive, windswept dunes. They stretch for miles, rising and falling like frozen waves. Behind them, the snow-capped Sangre de Cristo Mountains stand like ancient guardians. And at your feet, a small creek runs cool and clear, cutting across the sand like a silver ribbon. This is Medano Creek. This is peace. And this is the scene captured forever on the face of a single quarter. But this isn't just scenery pressed into metal. It's a memory shared between generations. A father kneels beside his young son, the two of them touching the water, fingers pressing into the warm sand. There's no rush here. Just presence. Just learning. Just a boy discovering the world with his father by his side. That quiet image, framed by the curves of the dunes and the towering mountains behind them, became one of the most emotionally resonant images ever placed on a coin. The Great Sand Dunes Quarter was more than a commemorative piece. It was a tribute to stillness in a noisy world. Released in 2014 as part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, it quickly caught the attention of those who collect not just coins, but stories. Collectors noticed the detail first. The textures of sand, the flow of water, the careful rendering of movement in a still medium. The design felt alive. It wasn't just symbolic, it was sensory. You could almost feel the grit of the sand between your fingers. You could almost hear the quiet gurgle of Medano Creek and the breeze carving curves across the dunes. The coin was released in a variety of formats. Some were circulated, passing quietly from hand to hand at grocery stores, gas stations, and coffee shops, unnoticed by most. But others were handled with care. Uncirculated versions, protected from the scratches and smudges of daily life, found their way into velvet trays, airtight capsules, and display cases. Then there were the proof versions, struck with precision, polished to a mirror finish, and created for collectors who understand the value of perfection. That what's remarkable is how quickly this particular quarter began to stand apart. Not just because of its design, but because of what it represented. People who had walked those dunes, stood beside that creek, or watched their own children play in the sand saw something deeply familiar in the coin. It wasn't just a national park being honored. It was a shared memory. A place that feels like home even to those who've never been. And then came the rarities. Among the millions produced, there were a few coins that stood out, not because they were flawed, but because they were perfect. A handful of specimens emerged that showed flawless detail, sharp edges, and no imperfections even under magnification. These coins, especially the proof and silver versions, drew the attention of serious collectors. Some coins even displayed slight quirks from the minting process. A slightly misaligned strike. A doubled rim. An unexpected shadow in the design. These anomalies, so subtle that only the trained eye could detect them, turned ordinary coins into treasures. For collectors, these variations weren't mistakes. They were signatures. Unique fingerprints that made one coin unlike any other in the world. But rarity alone doesn't create value. Emotional connection does. The Great Sand Dunes Quarter tapped into something primal. The human connection to land. The sacredness of time spent in nature. The fleeting beauty of a child's hand pressed into wet sand. This wasn't just a collectible. It was a feeling, and feelings, when rare and tangible, are priceless. Over the years, the value of the coin began to rise, slowly at first, quietly. Then a few key auctions drew attention. A single proof version, graded at the highest possible level, exchanged hands at a price that shocked even seasoned collectors. The quiet coin from the dunes had stirred something deep, and now the world was paying attention. The whispers turned to headlines when one near-perfect specimen of the 2014 Great Sand Dunes Quarter sold for a staggering $28,000. That's right. A coin born of sand, wind, and a father's quiet moment with his son became one of the most valuable modern quarters in circulation today. This wasn't a relic from a century ago. It wasn't dug up in ruins or lost in history. It was created in our time, passed through our hands, and cherished by those who saw something others missed. It's a reminder that beauty doesn't always come with fanfare. Sometimes, it arrives quietly, carried on a breeze across the dunes, waiting to be discovered. So the next time you empty your pockets or check your change, look closely. You might be holding more than 25 cents. You might be holding a national treasure, a symbol of connection, a frozen moment from the wild heart of Colorado. And if you ever find yourself beside a creek in a sea of sand, under the shadow of the mountains, remember this coin. Remember what it captured. And know that even the smallest things can carry the deepest meaning.